On October 7th, 2021, a user by the name Carl92 posted a 17-second snippet of a song that was unknown to him on a site named whatsthatsong.com. Attached to the song was a very brief description stating, mid-80s bad quality, everyone knows that. And this is what the audio sounded like. Many others would throw out potential ideas on what they believed the song was, but unfortunately none of them were correct. The comments were then flooded with questions such as if Carl had a longer sample, or even better audio quality of the snippet. Carl responded that the origin is unknown to him. He rediscovered the sample from a bunch of old files in a DVD backup, later adding that they were learning how to capture audio and the snippet was just a random leftover. Carl also mentioned that it sounded like a popular 80s songs because in particular, one of the clap sounds reminded him of two other mid-80s songs titled Eyes Without a Face by Billy Idol and You're the Voice by John Farnham. The song was familiar, and so he gave ahamusic.com a chance, but sadly, there were no results. So what was the next step? Well, many people attempted to break down the lyrics. This was trickier than expected since, as previously mentioned, the audio quality wasn't the best. Carl92 specifically had a problem with this since English wasn't his main language. At the time, there was no official song name, so it was given the placeholder names, Everyone Knows That, and Ulterior Motives, due to the possible heard lyrics. While on the topic of lyrics, this was speculated to be a portion of them in the snippet. However, there were many other variations due to how others heard the lyrics. Eventually, the song made its way onto YouTube, as a user named JK uploaded the snippet with a photo of a purple/pinkish boombox. The video has since been deleted, but the photo would be heavily associated with Everyone Knows That, despite there being no actual connection between them. The original photo of the boombox actually came from a Depop listing in 2022 for a Nextplay Glitz and Glitter boombox, with the image and snippet becoming more well known and talked about as time went on. This led to some new observations and possible theories surrounding Everybody Knows That. Looking back at the snippet, people were quick to notice the song's obscure tune. It was deemed that it came from a Lindrum, which was released in 1982. This made perfect sense since it was commonly used in the 80s, and as Carl92 previously stated, he believed that the song resembled other songs from that same time period. Not only that, but it was also determined that the audio recording for the song was recorded with a 15.734 kHz pilot tone, which, for those unaware, is only available in NTSC CRTs and PAL MTVs. These are broadcast exclusives to a select few countries. This small but vital piece of information almost ended the search right here. Carl92 had stated that he was from Spain, and unfortunately, both NTSC CRTs and PAL MTVs aren't available in Spain. Because of this, many stormed back to Carl's original post to call him out for lying to them. It was even theorized that Carl was just trolling those part of the Lost Wave community for fun. But it wouldn't take that long for others to think more logically about this, as it was suggested that it could have been recorded while Carl wasn't in Spain, or that it was likely captured via an NTSC computer microphone. For the time being, these two suggestions were highly believed to be one of the correct answers. Keep in mind, people couldn't have just contacted Carl92, since after his post started blowing up, he stopped responding to messages. It wasn't confirmed why he left, and this once again caused some suspicion. But trust me when I say this, people still went out of their way looking for the song's origin. And this is when more theories began to arise. There have been so many theories surrounding the song. I'm sure some of you watching this video may have seen or heard about the theories I'm showing on screen and might be cringing at how bad some of these theories were, or you may even feel a bit embarrassed because you believed in them at one point in time. The theories pretty much discussed all aspects of the song, and there was a wide range of them, from whether or not the vocalist was a man or woman, to the song supposedly coming from an alternate universe, and this is some sort of a Mandela effect. So to keep things simple, I'm only going to discuss some of the most popular ones. I know I'm not going to be able to mention all of them, so let me know in the comments on your favorite one, even if it wasn't talked about in this video. The first one I'm going to talk about is known as a TV theory. This suggests that the song was used for a one-time appearance for an unknown commercial. It's believed that the song was never meant to be commercially released elsewhere. There's a long list of commercial types everyone knows that could have appeared on, such as a makeup, a perfume, or even clothing line. It even got to the point that people were messaging popular YouTube channels that re-uploaded older commercials from the 80s to see if they had any knowledge of Everyone Knows That. Of course, these were all speculations on the Everyone Knows That subreddit, but things became a bit interesting shortly after. A theory popped up that suggested it was from an unused Celine car commercial, but this was later debunked after someone contacted the car company on Facebook, with one of the company representatives stating that there was a possibility it was used in a commercial not produced by Celine that used one of their vehicles, but that wouldn't technically make it a Celine commercial. The person who messaged them then brought up the point that they talked to someone who worked for the same company, and he stated that there was an approved commercial for the Celine Mustang partnership with McDonald's for their Big Win Monopoly promotion. This commercial was also never released, but the song was suggested by another employee who had a collection of other songs that could have been used in advertisements. The spokesperson claimed that the promotion was in 1996, but because it was never released and not produced by Celine, the commercial is considered a work in progress, meaning the music was temporary. While on the topic of McDonald's, let's talk about the McDonald's theory. In an r/lost media post about Everyone Knows That, user Alan2237 commented that they were from Poland and that they heard the song on an in-store radio at McDonald's around 2012. They recalled that many other McDonald's in Poland played many other unknown songs, specifically 80s styles like Everyone Knows That. This was a bold claim, and it was pretty skeptical as it just seemed to be another faulty memory post. Alan did provide a YouTube link to another song similar to Everyone Knows That played in the McDonald's. Once again, this was disproven as Alan stated that the playlist used in McDonald's was from a media company named Mood Media. A playlist was released that featured a song named .008 Nishion Sound Library Japan Fear of Your Emotions.ogg. Another user named Annabelle SND got into contact with them, and through email, they stated that they couldn't find any files or playlists with that title, even stating that 2 of the songs in the playlist were from 2018, which completely debunked this theory. The next one we are going to look into is called the D Project theory, and it kind of falls into another in which it's been speculated that the song likely originated in a different country besides Spain or the US, in which many believe it's somewhere in Asia. At first, it was highly believed that the singer was Osni Mello, a Brazilian multi-artist who was living in Japan for some period of time. Osni Mello had worked in numerous commercials, TV shows, and Japanese movie soundtracks in the 80s and 90s. The similarities between his vocals, background, style of music, and even choice of lyrics resembled Everyone Knows That. One of his songs titled Take Me Away began to receive attention due to similarity. But as with a ton of these theories, this one was debunked as he stated that he wasn't the artist through an Instagram DM. Going back to the Deep Project theory, it was once again related to another music group in Japan. There's a man named Joe Rinoue, who was the lead singer of a band named Deep Project from 1988 to the early 90s. He's worked on a ton of corporate image music, commercial music, and jingles. It's been observed that a ton of his solo and band music have the same style as Everyone Knows That. This specific song, titled Stuck, was the closest thing that resembled Everyone Knows That, but once again, with most of these theories, this was debunked by Joe himself. Another commercial related theory was that it could have been an obscure chips commercial. This YouTube video posted by Core09 highlights that chips could be subtly heard in the background. But of course, many thought this was a reach since a ton of people could barely hear the crunching and gulping noises, plus the assumed lyrics at the time didn't necessarily relate at all to chips, so this was also quickly debunked. I know some of the theories mentioned so far have had a more in-depth analysis compared to the chip theory, but I just found this one to be funny, to be honest. Another popular theory revolved around the band Savage Garden being the group behind the song. A video by Campspiracy was uploaded onto YouTube, and it brings up the idea that the lead singer Darren Hayes sounds identical to the vocalist in Everyone Knows That. Savage Garden allegedly had hundreds of demos that they recorded in the 90s that are now lost, with some of them sounding quite familiar to Everyone Knows That. It was also explained that Darren was known for using the phrase ulterior motives in his music. In late November 2023, Darren made a now deleted tweet saying "Everyone Knows That," in which it was originally assumed that he was referencing his music, but this was never confirmed. More likely than not, Darren Hayes could have just seen the hype surrounding Everyone Knows That, since he had been messaged who knows how many times regarding his possible connection to Everyone Knows That, but it was likely just him trying to get the word out. And now, probably one of the most controversial theories is about Everyone Knows That potentially being an AI generated song. Once the song became widespread, it made its way onto TikTok. A ton of users would share their thoughts on the song, and one of the more common beliefs was that it was simply just AI generated. Not a ton of people were impressed by this, so in order to prove it wrong, many extended variations of the song were created via AI, which has resulted in the song sounding completely different to the original snippet. Now up to this point, we've heard an abundance of theories, and let's just say that some of them are more in depth than others. As with all internet mysteries, especially those surrounding lost media, there will be a ton of outrageous suggestions that people aren't going to take seriously. But there was one theory in particular that a majority of people didn't take seriously at all: the porn film theory. This idea has been brought up to the community even during the early days of the search. The theory would soon make its way to the Everyone Knows That subreddit, with the comments usually consisting of negativity or simply just taking it as a joke, but there were some that genuinely believed it. Theory: the song comes from an adult film. For a while I believed this to be a very big possibility, and in recent days, more people believe that it could be right. Here I come to give some arguments as to why this could be true. Carl92 may know that he took the audio from an adult film, however he doesn't remember the title or may be embarrassed to explain that he took it from one. There are a lot of Lost Wave songs that ultimately came from movies like that. This may explain why we haven't found the song since it came out, because perhaps not many people decided to look in adult movies. It's more credible than the theory of a commercial. If the song came from one, we would have already found it. There are productions for adults that are super unknown, amateur, rare, and even that are lost media. Now yes, a lost song coming from an adult rated film would be odd, but it wouldn't necessarily be an anomaly as the post mentioned. For example, Let's Get Up was a lost 80s pop song that was later discovered to be from a 1988 adult film named The Perfect Stranger. A second case would be an unknown rock song given the name No Way Out, which was later identified to be titled We're Getting Even by Andy Curran, and was discovered in a 1989 Canadian adult film titled Freak Show. These are just two examples, but it goes to show that despite the odds being slim, Everyone Knows That could most definitely be from an adult-rated film. In support of the theory, Carl92's disappearance left many to question what truly happened. Carl's last two messages were concerning at the time, since he was the only known person to have a snippet for the song. But looking at this particular question, it was safe to assume that Carl felt uncomfortable being bombarded with personal questions, ending off with his last message being this: "Thanks again for the lyrics. It's a dead end. Anyways, I've lost interest in the song, and so I'm not checking this often." So was that it? Was the search over? On April 27th, 2024, a promising lead was posted onto the Everyone Knows That subreddit by user OneTruth5867. They explained that they have made direct contact with the artist behind the song. It's unreleased and is in the same registry as another song they have called Ulterior Motives. They also have another song called Sheep's in Wolf's Clothing in the registry under one of the two artists. It's either a big coincidence or the biggest lead yet. An audio clip was then sent that highly resembled the song everyone has been looking for. And just shortly after, with the assistance of another researcher, Southpole Ball, Everyone Knows That was officially found on April 28th, 2024. Contrary to popular belief, everyone knows that was indeed from a porn film. One Truth explained that they examined 2 YouTube videos that had big leads. When questioned on how these specific videos were found, it was stated, "I honestly don't remember. I think I stumbled across them by pure chance when I was looking at other scenes from adult films. I don't exactly remember, but I think it was a recommended video from the algorithm from Marilyn Chambers' videos. In this specific video description, it said that the song was written by Chris and Phil Booth. This immediately reminded One Truth that both of those names are connected to a song called Ulterior Motives that's licensed in the BMI and SOCAN database. This wasn't the first time both names were mentioned, as 9 months earlier, another researcher named Hey Scarlett attempted to contact both Christopher and Phil Booth after seeing them registered to the Canadian Society SOCAN, BMI, and Canadian label Unidisc. Adding on, more information such as Christopher's YouTube channel and a couple interviews were found. Going back to the latest update, over 12 hours and 65 different adult films were watched to find anything that resembled the snippet. Self-Spobal assisted in the process by also watching the films, in which it would then be found from a 1986 film titled Angels of Passion. The song is officially titled Ulterior Motives and starts to play at the 1 hour, 7 minute and 31 second mark and lasts for roughly 3 minutes. For a majority of the song, moaning can be heard in the background, except for one portion of the song that lasts only for 17 seconds, which is the only part Carl92 used in his original post. At the time of recording this video, it's been a couple days since the big news was released. I'm sure if you've been part of this community, you've seen so much updates regarding Christopher Booth. And honestly, just any new piece of information that has been brought up onto the subreddit is always great to hear about. Christopher Booth has acknowledged the news surrounding his song on Instagram, and from these images, you can tell he's extremely grateful and excited for the attention it has received. Some other updates include the song's officially confirmed lyrics. Christopher Booth came forward and stated that he was the one who provided the vocals, and there was another Rolling Stone interview. In this interview, it's explained that they both plan on re-releasing/remaking the song, but there's currently no release date. Some of the original multi-tracks were released, but the vocals will have to be re-recorded since they'll have to go through 40 years worth of tapes. Also, they're planning on redoing it as close as possible to the original, but it will consist of a modern recording sound. They still have the same rhythm track, and will still throw the 80s synthesizer guitar that was in the original. If the song is a success, they'll release a whole album full of tracks that sound similar to Ulterior Motives. In another interview with CBC this time, they were asked whether or not the song was purely intended for the film, in which Christopher stated that it wasn't meant for the film at all. Both Christopher and Phil were part of a band named Sweeney Todd. When they moved to America, they needed the money to help support themselves, so they took any jobs that would accept them, whether that be to work at local venues, some films, or in the art department. One of them was a production assistant job, which happened to be for an adult film. Ulterior Motives was recorded around 1986 and was intended to be a pop song. Another important question was asked, and it was regarding the meaning behind the song. Christopher describes it as what the name of it suggests. Whether it be your family member, a lover, a partner, or friend, whoever it is, they have ulterior motives. Love is blind, so you must convince yourself and trust your gut feeling when you get a sign about someone. You must find the truth about them, no matter how humiliating or delusional you may look. So, as of today, that's pretty much all the updates and news surrounding the ulterior motives. If any more pop up soon, I'll possibly make an update video for you guys. But before ending off, I just want to thank all the researchers involved in the search, and for Chris and Phil Booth for talking about ulterior motives. Just by looking through the interviews, you could tell they're extremely grateful for all the support they've been shown. And I honestly believe it's great that they're dedicating an entire album for the song and for their fans. And another person I gotta give thanks to is Kylie Bogley. If you're unaware, she's made probably the biggest video on the topic, and when I was looking through the subreddit, a lot of people were referencing her video, and it seems that her video gave a lot of attention to the topic. So yeah, I just wanted to say that before I ended the video off. If you made it to this point, thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate your support. Keeping the intro short today, but I hope you guys are doing well and taking care of yourselves. But yeah, as always, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you watching have a great rest of your day. But before you leave, don't leave yet, I just want to let you know that I truly mean that. I truly hope you, yes you, the person I'm pointing to at right now, have a great rest of your day. Alright, I'm gonna go now, but I'll see you guys next time.